Not the way we thought the weekend was going to go, and we are joined once again by the radio voice of the Blue Jays, Ben Wagner, for another edition of Blue Jays Takeaways. Hey, Ben, what happened this weekend? Is it effort? Is it fatigue? Is it execution? How did the Blue Jays get swept by the Angels after such a promising road trip?
Yeah, that's a really difficult question to answer when you think about the success through New York and then a sweep of the Boston Red Sox, right? The Blue Jays should have been flying high, coming in to play a very, very meek Los Angeles Angels ball club. And even though it was a late night of travel and a couple of extra inning games against the Red Sox, I boil it down to fog and focus. And it started on the very first play that the Angels put a ball into play for the Blue Jays on Friday night. And it seemed like that just had ripple effects where the Blue Jays just didn't have that clarity, that crispness, that sharpness to the ball game, especially defensively. And I think that was a little bit of the hangover through the weekend. Overall, I'll give him a mulligan on Saturday. Shohei Ohtani was awesome. I thought he was as dominant as he has been this season, and he carved up a really good lineup for the Blue Jays. That ball game lived up to the billing between Alek Manoah and Shohei Ohtani. But then you get to Sunday, and once again, a couple of breakdowns in focus on the bases, focus defensively for the Blue Jays. And one of the things that I think really changed the entire complexion of that ball game, on a ground ball up the middle when Andrew Velazquez makes a tremendous defensive play, his first look is to first base. Whit Merrifield's speed is going to take the Angels out of any play defensively, but because the Blue Jays weren't aggressively running the bases, the Angels were able to escape that situation. The Blue Jays were robbed of a run, and that completely flipped the script for me. So it was a lot of fog and focus in the 3 days against the Angels, which is really disappointing because the Blue Jays had a ton of momentum moving into that series.
Ben, when it comes to this offense, it seems like when a couple of key guys are struggling, everyone is struggling. When they're thriving, everyone is thriving. Does it feel that way to you? And if so, why do you think this is happening?
Well, I think it does feel that way to me. When I look at the Blue Jays lineup, yes, it's got a lot of depth, but it's got a couple of guys in the driver's seat. When Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is driving the ball all over the ballpark and spraying line drives or hitting home runs, however Vladdy is going to Vladdy, this lineup is much better. It's deeper. It's got a threat. When Teoscar Hernandez is driving the baseball all over the ballpark, that certainly is a menacing presence in the middle of the Blue Jays lineup. But when that's not happening, this lineup gets a little bit more selective from an opponent's pitching perspective. And how can they attack this lineup? And Vladdy has batted in a number of key situations recently, and he's hit the ball on the ground. And that's meant that he's bounced into some double plays or ground outs to really stifle some rallies that the Blue Jays were hoping for. If there are big innings, that means that the big bats are doing their job and everybody is collectively rolling.
Finally, there was something to smile about this weekend as the Blue Jays celebrated the 30th anniversary of their first World Series championship. How was that experience for you?
You know, as an outsider and as a young guy that was watching those World Series teams play, you wondered what kind of ripple effects when I got this job I would be able to witness for those teams and how important they are in the success of this franchise and just how they are revered. And they're still revered. And here's the good news. They're still teammates. The camaraderie and the intimacy with those friends, the families that were there, the teammates that were back onto the field celebrating, that is real. And it's evident just how close and tight-knit of a group that Blue Jay team was in 1992, doing something that no other team in franchise history had been able to accomplish. And remember, when you're the first to do anything, you're going to wear that as a badge of honor, a huge pin of pride as well, and that was extremely evident. I thought a couple of moments really stood out. A great job by the Toronto Blue Jays in the front office. One, getting Anne Murray to sing the national anthem. That was incredible, and that was a really moving moment. And then when you had Mike Timlin go over to the first base line and feed Joe Carter, and even Jumpin' Joe, he was back at it as well. That was a lot of fun. It played up to the crowd, it played up to the energy, and it was a really big celebration, and definitely the presence of the players, it met the moment, and of course the ripple effects of what they mean to this franchise in their history.
It really was great to see. Thanks, Ben. We'll talk to you next week.
My pleasure. We'll talk to you then.